And then he told me in an email that they can't really do anything or stop the store from putting on no rehire list. I said, but you guys are basically putting me out to die. I'm at the point where I'm basically homeless almost.
So that was the voice of a man named David Martinez. He's a viewer of the channel, and he reached out to me because he said that he was wrongfully terminated for reporting his company for unsafe and very hazardous working conditions to both himself as well as the customers that came to where he worked. He's since been fired and put on a no rehire list because of that. This is a story about how corporate can just lie and cheat and delay or just silence you. And that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it's such a personal thing to me. Let me give you a little bit of backstory about Dave. Dave was a real estate agent in Florida for a while. Him and his wife were there doing pretty good until one day his dad got sick in Colorado, where he's from. He ended up divorcing his wife because she didn't want to move back to Colorado because of the town where he's going is Vail, which is a resort town, but if you're not rich, then it's a hard life there for you. He ended up working at a grocery store called Safeway. He needed to work nights because during the day he was taking care of his sick dad. But he was doing great there. He started off just stocking shelves at night and then was promoted to, I believe, receiving supervisor. So if you don't know what that is, it's where you're in the back. People come deliver food and you have to organize it and do all the logistics and stuff like that. Once he was promoted into that position, he was exposed to things that he had never seen before, like in the back room sort of thing. And he instantly started taking notes, writing down everything, taking videos of stuff for his own safety because he's now responsible for that stuff, and for evidence if they tried to say, you caused this, which you can guess.
Yeah, because we can get written up on all this.
Yeah, it sounds like you
So
were the guy that wants to follow the rules to not get in trouble,
I'm
and
supposed to follow the rules.
everyone else is like, bro, just let it slide, it's fine. And you're like, no, I'm not getting in trouble because we're on camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me give you a quick list of the things that David was exposed to once he was promoted to this position, the things that he was reporting to his company, like, hey, we should fix this. Inches and inches of rodent feces, a mouse running over raw food, human feces, false food transfers to other stores. We're talking people that come in the back that don't work at the store, grabbing pallets of food, putting it in their truck, driving away, and then reselling it at their own restaurants and farmers markets. Things that haven't been documented anywhere that he's obviously now in charge of and responsible for. He sent me a bunch of videos, and what I'm about to show you might give you a queasy stomach. So seriously, look away if you can't handle grit and grime. And this is the loading dock where truckers come to drop off their food, and it's disgusting. Broken glass, trash, pieces of wood everywhere. You'll notice that there's no rail there. There's supposed to be railing there at the truck drop-off point for the safety of the workers and stuff, so you don't fall off the truck drop-off there. And that was an OSHA complaint, by the way, that David reported, which magically went missing, like all the other reports, and we'll talk about that more later. So here are rodent traps, which are obviously broken. Who knows how old it is? So here you'll notice rodent droppings on the ground. That's why he's taking this video. And you'll notice all the other food sitting out and around it that is unpackaged. He turns here. So here is the unpackaged raw food, and there's rodent droppings everywhere. So this is a slow-mo clip of a rat. He was just walking through, and he thought he heard some mouse noises, rodent noises, and he did. And he managed to whip his phone around just in time. You'll see this thing right here. Here's a broom. That's the rat. They pretty much just throw all of his complaints to the side and tell him to shut up. He goes on and he files everything, regardless of what his company says, and he keeps a paper trail because he's smart. So he's a few weeks into this promotion, and one day a lady comes in talking about how her baby ate expired baby food that she purchased from the Safeway where he worked. And he is worried and confused, like, is she okay? What's going on? And he goes on his own volition and starts going down all the aisles, starting with aisle 1, which is the ethnic food section, and he notices there's food that has been there since before he even moved back to take care of his sick dad.
So we decided to do an inventory on all the baby stuff. We found a couple of things, and then we had some time over because it was late at night. I was like, let's just go check out the ethnic section because that's aisle 1.
Yeah.
And we went there, and then we found tons of expired food from the ethnic section, which starts out right with our Jewish customers.
Right.
You know, the expired gefilte food, and borscht, and all the other stuff. And then I just started finding more and more and more. So that's why I took pictures.
And once again, they see him doing it on camera, and he gets in trouble for that. So some more time goes by, and a trucker comes in with a food delivery one day and starts complaining about the biohazard buildup, all the rat feces that you saw everywhere, saying, we're going to report you to the health department. And Dave is like, please do. Please come tell my manager that you're going to report us to the health department. I am well aware of that. And then the trucker goes on to say, there's even human poop back there. I think I saw a guy living here. Did you know that?
He climbs up on top of the roof, and then you can get an access door from up there, and then you can crawl inside the store. And there's a small, and he was inside that room where our the boilers and the doors, it's all blocked and locked. But he figured out a way to unlock it because he broke the pins in the back. And then he starts going in through the loading dock area. So there was tons of fecal matter back there, human poop, and that's what that man was talking about. He's like, I am traveling through here. I'm walking through human waste and animal waste. And he says, I'm putting it through your store. He goes, I'm reporting you to the health department. The store manager was there, and that's when I got in about 7:30 at night, and she was still there. And I physically brought this driver all the way, and the grocery manager there too. And I said, please tell them what you told me, that you're going to report me. So he told them, and the store manager is already leaving. So the grocery manager comes over to grabs me. He's like, don't you ever bring something like this again. He goes, those drivers make more money than we do, so they can move around a couple of things if they need to.
Again, just brushing it under the rug. Now let's talk about the shady business dealings that Dave uncovered and gets pinned for. Dave is in the back when a man shows up and walks through the door and starts grabbing pallets of food that they're going to throw away. Again, this is pretty normal. Donated baked goods and stuff to pantries. So as usual, Dave grabs his pen and paper and clipboard and is ready to put on the manifest, is what it's called, but just document everything that's leaving and coming through the doors. Now, these people that came in the back of the store, they were on no list of approved people to come in and out of those doors to the store. Yet they were just walking in, grabbing pallets of food, putting it into their own personal unmarked vehicles, and then driving away, disappearing.
Twice a week, and they're picking up a bunch of produce that's sitting in a bunch of boxes. That's over by the produce area. And then another comes in, and he picks up this quarter pallet that's always sitting by dairy, and it's mixed with dairy and meat and seafood. And he told me that it was all stuff that was being thrown away. And so if it's being thrown away, it's supposed to be packaged, logged, and then put inside the bin, not sitting out. And I said, and it's supposed to be taken out by an employee. And it also states in front of the door, you're not an employee, you're not allowed behind the store. I got off of work that, so I followed him. And he works at the Carnacias, the shopping center.
Yeah.
So they're taking stuff from our store, putting it into there, and selling it. And they have like high quality meats, the same meats that we're selling.
Yeah.
And over at the farmer's market, and I wrote this up in my reports, they'd take it and they'd throw it in the back of the truck, and then they'd go to the farmer's market.
There's some agreements happening behind the scenes with the dudes who run the store, it sounds like.
Thank you, sir.
So one day, Dave's at home, he's off work, and he gets a text message from his manager that says, hey, we need a report. You hit someone, there's an act of violence. Now, Dave is naturally confused and says, what? Do you have camera footage of that? Okay, we filed a police report. And Dave again says, okay, can you show me any footage, any evidence, any proof of this? What's going on? And naturally, they refuse to show any camera footage or any proof at all, for that matter. They simply told Dave not to come into work anymore, and we need your keys.
I got a text stating I need a report. I was like, what? I need a report for you slapping Chris in the chest. I'm like, what? I don't even understand what you're talking about. So I saw where this is going really quick. Next day, I get fired. Well, I get suspended. I went straight to the police department.
Yeah.
And I go in there and I said, sir, my name is Dave Martinez. Here's my driver's license. I said, may I please get a copy of that report, please, for my attorney? So he's like, copy of what report? So I explained the whole thing, and he just laughs at me, and he's like, are you okay? And I said, yes, I am, sir. I said, why? He goes, I've never had anyone in all my years try to turn themselves in for something that they said that might or might not have happened. So I explained the whole thing again, showed him a couple of texts, and he's like, this is beyond me. Right now, it's just a lot of, I can't give you any legal advice. Just go talk to a lawyer.
Right. Dave realizes they're trying to get him out. They're trying to get Dave to shut up and disappear. Basically, the day after he gets put on leave, there is an emergency remodel at the Safeway.
During this time when they released me on the 8th, on the 9th, the next day, they did an emergency remodel. So what they did is they went through and they power washed the whole place, power washed the whole deck.
You can't power wash biohazards away. So they're just trying to clean up the evidence.
Exactly. So I went over, without crossing any lines in the public area, I went over and took a video of the loading dock. which violates everything of OSHA because they're supposed to have just a loading dock door there. The same pigeons that are still living in the ceiling. That's a biohazard area. There's still poop all along there.
Yeah, that's crazy. The people who thought they could get away with this by just pressure washing poop away, that's not how it works. You have to properly disinfect these kinds of biohazards that grow mold everywhere. Holes in the ceiling, and there's dudes living in the ceiling. I mean, Dave has evidence on evidence, yet he is still essentially homeless for this. He's been living in his truck trying to find a job, but he can't because of the workplace violence that is on his record. What record, Josh? How is this possible? Well, that's the thing. That's the thing with corporate America. We have workplace records. We have no hire lists that get spread around. Those are real things. If you don't believe me, here is what that paper actually looks like. So there's a few things I want to point out on this document. He never signed this document. The store director never signed this document, and there is no witness signing this document. Not to mention the date of termination is May 3rd, 2020, but he was actually terminated or let go April 9th. The most hilarious thing about this is they said, we gave this document to you and you signed it. But as you can see, again, Dave's got notes. He's smart. He was never even there to be like, yeah, I did. Here's my signature. Like, this is what goes in your employee file. This is what comes up when companies background check you. And there's nothing you can do about this. The only thing you can do is ask them to remove it from your file so other companies don't find this. This is what it is. Workplace violence. Good luck. And you'll never find another job because of this. Albertson's looking real trash right now. Hopefully, in the audio, you can see that this is just a regular man, well-spoken, educated, did well for himself, yet now he is screwed for doing the right thing, and that pisses me off. I'm honestly not sure how Dave gets by at this point. I mean, he's just a man who wants to work but can't. It's going to cost a company money to fix what he complained about. So what's easier? Fire and silence the angry employee, or spend a bunch of money to remodel our huge-ass Safeway? I mean, it's pretty easy to see what's going on. There were a few things that he said to me in the phone call that I thought were truly commendable of his character. I mean, these are his words.
I never thought it would happen to me. I always thought that I was going to be able to have a nice life when I reached 60. As, my ex-wife and I were going to sell up everything and just go live our life. Then my pops got sick. I had to come back. And my ex-wife's like, I'm not doing that all over again. She goes, I've lived a nice life. I'm going to continue a nice life, but I'm not going to live in Colorado. Colorado's tough.
It was an honorable thing what you did.
Trying to find a job, Josh. I'm just trying to survive. I sit in my truck almost all the time. I go over and I have employment. I go over and all these places. It's just the same thing. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry, Dave. And it really sucks when you try to go get food. You have to. People are like, "Why do you stay in your truck?" I'm like, "Well, if I go to the shelter, that means if I'm going to take someone else's bed, so she becomes like a single mom or something. So I'm willing to do what I have to do for myself."
It hurts to hear you say that. Like, it brings me back.
Yeah, you know what I'm going through, so I don't need to tell you. It hurts to the point where you don't want to cry, so that's why I'm going to stop right now.
I got you, man. I got you, because I'm about to. This has got to be one of the biggest cases of corporate injustice that I've ever seen. And this is one of those cases where if you don't have social media or a platform, you don't have a voice. Part of why this channel exists is to give people like David Martinez a voice. Naturally, you're like, why doesn't he sue, Josh? Obviously, wrongful termination, this is insane. Just sue. Well, a lot of people at that store work at a union, and you have to do this thing called arbitration with their union, which means you can't just sue. You got to try and work it out first. Turns out this union is completely, absolutely useless.
See, when all this happened, I wanted to see what the union would do for me. So when I noticed that they weren't doing anything for me, and I noticed that, because the basics of the grievance, everything is right there. It's all in black and white. Tells you how it goes, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to get ready, what all your paperwork's supposed to have, and it tells you the steps.
Yeah.
Well, the steps didn't go through, and then I contacted the union attorney, and then when I found out he was a board member, if an attorney's on a union, he's not supposed to be part of the board, because then that is a conflict of interest, and they're not supposed to be taking part of any stock options for their payment.
So when you do your first meeting, you talk about all your problems, everything you're complaining about, all the things you found, all the evidence you have. Talk about what evidence you'd like to be kept around. So he's asking, keep the camera footage, keep this, keep that. When they go to the first meeting, they're like, okay, great, thank you. We'll look it over and we'll come back and we'll, form some action that we'll take. At the second meeting, the lady didn't even read the complaints. She had looked at none of the camera footage, did absolutely none of her job as representative for the grocery store. Basically just blew Dave off. And they were all on a recording, by the way, when they're all meeting, the union rep and all this stuff. Dave is like, Did you read my complaints? Did you even see what I put in there?
During the step 2 process, when I noticed that she was going off key, we already went to step 1, so step 2 process is going through. She's stating all these allegations. And I said, wait a second. I said, who are you? And so she told me who she was. And I said, have you even read this report? I said, are you the same person that actually did the initial investigation? Yes, I am. I said, have you even read the report, ma'am? She was quiet. And I said, I'm going to ask you once again. We're being recorded. All right, have you read the report, ma'am?
Mhm.
No, I have not. I said, what are we doing here? If you never read the report, then you're just giving me a biased opinion. And I
Mhm.
said, I'm going to ask you once again, and you are, because telling me that you are under oath. So I said, you are being recorded on this. Did you read the reports? She goes, no, I did not. And I said, so I raised up my hands. I said, the interview, let's just end it right here. He said, because I don't want to go through with this anymore. And then that's when if you do that, then that means it's your grounds for termination. And I said, I'll be talking to an attorney from there. And then I never heard from them from 9-10 months.
So a little after Dave left that meeting, he actually got a phone call from a representative of Safeway saying, what do you want? What do you want the settlement to be? And Dave said, I just want my grievances addressed, and I want my back pay, and I want my name off that no rehire list. And the representative for Safeway said, that'll never happen, because I guess the amount of back pay they owe is quite significant. A few days later, he gets another call saying, all right, Dave, look, we're willing to give you $9,000, and your name stays on the list. Dave said, absolutely not, and hung up. They're being very difficult to work with, and Dave has been trying to get copies of all the things, all of his affidavits. He finally got a hold of someone that worked at the store he was working at.
She sent me a text the other day because I keep asking, I want my personnel file, I want all my paperwork, and then she sent me a text stating that basically the personnel file is only my hiring date and my date of release.
And Dave goes, what about all the OSHA complaints that I filed? All of the stuff that I've been complaining about the store, where is that? What about the training I had to go through? Wouldn't that be in my employee file? And the lady goes, nope, it's not here. Again, you can see just how corrupt the people running this place really are. I mean, it's straight out of a movie. Oh, you want that? No, I don't have it. Don't know where it went. At this point, Dave was so gaslit, he thought that maybe I didn't actually file them. Did I do it right? Was this a fake program? Did I even send the OSHA complaints anywhere? Did anyone read my complaints? Am I locked in a box right now screaming in a padded room and no one can hear me? So he calls OSHA himself to make sure the papers were filed. Turns out, yes. Yep, they do have everything that he's ever filed.
Everything that was inside my report all disappeared, but it's so lucky that if it wasn't for this gentleman named Mr. who works for in Washington, he listened to me. He said, I can only give you about 10 minutes. And so I just did the very basics. I went through the whole deal. Next thing you know, an hour and a half goes by, and he's like, you know what? He says, I see where this is going. I'm going to pass along your email to a friend. Yeah, within 20 minutes, I got a phone call. They revived the whole deal. One of the ladies found through a company email address that I actually called and complained. And I don't know if that was just like an act of God or something, but it kept everything alive. So now they kept the OSHA thing, my OSHA complaint alive. They kept my NRLB alive, and they tried to get this whole thing because I had statute limitations, and this is why they were trying to let it run out the whole time. Every time I contact them, my union rep would be on vacation, and that's why I contacted the union lawyers. Like, how come I contact my union rep and I ask him about these certain things, and then he's on vacation every month on the day that I call?
So this case went from something that could have been resolved officially as of today. At least I saw the paper today. Dave is an official whistleblower for this company, and you chose to try and silence him, and you chose to try and screw him over, and you chose to try and make evidence disappear. But now you got OSHA coming for you. Now you got the health department coming for you. Now you got 10 other organizations that are coming for you. So that $9,000 that you offered Dave on the phone, by the way, is going to cost you way more just for the lawyers that are going to have fun with this. Oh, by the way, I'm going to put an email down in the description. It's Dave's email. He wants me to give it to you. If you have any evidence or you want to reach out to Dave with help, or maybe you're a lawyer or you know someone or you've experienced something similar or you have some advice for him, you can reach out to him because I don't really know what else to do. So I'll put that email down there. I just hope that this video attracts enough attention to everyone out there that thinks it won't happen to them or it can't happen to them. Time and time again, people doing the right thing get screwed. No one will acknowledge that, and they'll just pick yourself up by your bootstraps type shit, and I hate it. Oh, and one more fun fact that just happened just the other day since I've been in contact with Dave. The union that he was part of, the useless one, they tried to give him a new attorney, And it turns out this attorney isn't even licensed to practice law in the state of Colorado. And he's like, I will not accept her as a representative for this union for me in any capacity if you can't at least prove that she's licensed to practice law here. At least get a temporary permit, do something. Like, he's smart. It's the kind of smart where corporations are annoyed by it type of smart. That's Dave. But honestly, that's what you have to win in the court of law. So I'm on your side. Technically correct is the best kind of correct, Dave, especially in this scenario. I hope this video helps you, especially you, Dave, and I hope it can provide perspective to the people that watch this channel and what I really talk about and how corporate can really just take someone's life and flip it upside down for nothing. If you guys want a part 2, let me know. I'm sure Dave would appreciate it, and hopefully we can get the ball rolling on this story. So please share this video with people. But that's it for today. Please click the like button. It helps this video. Subscribe if you want to see the update to this story or stories similar to this. And if you have any questions for me, my email is down there as well. But that's it. See you guys in the next one. Let's end it here.
Yeah.
And let me get this moving for you.
Thanks, brother.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Try to make the best of it, man.
Every day I do, man. I smile every day because every day is beautiful. Take care, man.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye.